Hey, it's Dot from DotStrut.com, and I am still doing a big cooking fest today. I've got my meatballs in my slow cooker, and I'm going to make tonight's dinner, which is going to be a chili dish. Um, and love chili. It's cold outside, so it's the perfect time to start adding chili back into our diet. I don't really do it too much in the summer just because I like to make my chili a little bit spicy. But for my chili, pretty much I don't include any beans, and that's primarily because beans are really, really high in carbs, and I'm trying to cut out as many carbs as possible. You could use lentils, but they're pretty high too. Certainly black soybeans are a much better option, either lentils or kidney beans. They're much significantly lower in carbs, but I tend not to use any type of soy products if I can get away with it. So my chili is just going to be about 2.5 pounds of ground beef. Again, it's the old 80-20 ground beef. I use freshly chopped tomatoes. No tomato sauce goes into my chili. I basically use the actual tomatoes, and the juice from the meat will create the liquid for the chili. I use red and green pepper, a lot of cilantro, yay, a white onion, garlic. I am putting in about 1.5 jalapeno peppers because, again, I like it spicy. And I use my own little mix that I put together for making chili, which is mostly chili seasoning and cumin. And the nice thing about it, I make a batch of it, and I also make it at Christmas time and give it out as gifts. It's a great way to give gifts to people that is food related other than really sweet cookies. But that's just sort of here or there. It's up to you. But the other thing I use, the fat that I use is, for this recipe, is duck fat. Yum. I just discovered this maybe, 6 months ago using duck fat, and it's absolutely yummy. It just adds another flavor to the vegetables when you cook it in it. The great thing about duck fat, and it's actually extremely healthy for you because most of it it's more than 50% monosaturated fat, sort of like olive oil almost, but a better taste than olive oil, and also saturated fat. There's a little bit of polysaturated fats in there, but it is so delicious, and it just makes the flavor wonderful. It's also, obviously, the French have known about duck fat for a very, very long time. It's also great for using in baking as opposed to shortening or canola oil or all the other things that we tend to use in the American diet for baking. And I'm hoping to start using duck fat in my baking. Granted, I do more of my making with nut flours, but nonetheless, I would think that would be a little tasty option using some duck fat. But anyway, we're going to go over to the stove and we're going to start cooking a chili. All right, I got my duck fat. It's all melted. Yay! I love duck fat. It smells amazing. It's sizzling, so I'm going to go ahead and add the garlic. Ooh. And then I'm going to add my onion too. Get it all sizzling. I'm going to wait to add the peppers just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and get the garlic and onion in there for about a minute before I add the peppers. I keep it at about a medium-high heat, roughly. You want to get the, you're going to put the peppers in before you reach this point, but you do, before you add anything else, you want the onions to be translucent. So they're going to be in there for about 3 to 5 minutes. And oh, it smells so good. Okay, it's been about 2 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to turn that up a little bit. I'm going to add my peppers. And basically it's about 1 whole red and 1 whole green pepper that I'm adding to this. And again, you're just going to saute it in my Dutch oven. Woohoo! Love my Dutch oven. I love my Dutch oven more than the duck fat, so that tells you something about this, because you know I love duck fat. I want to get the peppers really coated with everything. And I'm going to saute this for about 2 to 3 minutes before I add in my ground beef. All right, my peppers are soft, so it's the perfect time to go ahead and add the ground beef. Thank you for turning off the fan. So I'm just going to plop that all in there. Get all the little bits and pieces. I'm going to break this up. I'm going to stir it up. And what you want to do is brown the ground beef. But you also want to mix in all of the veggies with it. Woo! some veggies fell. So you're mixing that all up. And then what I'm going to do while I'm mixing this a little bit is I'm going to go ahead and add in all of the seasoning. And I'll put in the recipe for what I give out as a chili rub in the instructions below the video. So you're just going to do that. Oh, it smells really good. And the last thing I'm going to add in right now, I'm not going to add in the tomatoes just yet. Those go in near the end because you don't want the tomatoes getting a little bit too soft. I'm going to add in my jalapeno peppers for spice. Woo! I got to make sure I pick those up before the dogs get them. It's not a good thing. And I hear a big dog coming in here. Last thing you want is your dogs to get a hold of the seasoning. Jalapeno specifically. So what you're doing, you're mixing up the chili in here. You want to make sure the ground beef is really covered with the chili. Yeah, I have everything mixed. Like I said, the cilantro and the tomatoes are going to go in near the end. So what I'm going to do is I turn the heat down to medium. So I want it to cook a little slower than what I normally would cook it because I have it in my Dutch oven. So I'm just going to keep it on the stove at about a medium heat. I'm going to check on it probably in about an hour to see how it goes. It shouldn't burn or anything like that. I've got enough, there'll be enough, the meat will release a lot of juice. So that'll create the juice for the chili itself. But I'm going to sit here, let it sit here for about an hour. I'll come back and check it and see how it goes and see how much the beef has browned and has gotten, cooked through. And then at a certain point, once it's ready to go, I'll add in the tomatoes and the cilantro and cook that for probably about another 10 to 15 minutes. And then the chili will be all set and ready to go and be all delicious and yummy. All right, it is time to check the chili. Ooh, it smells great. I'm gonna mix it up a little bit. You see it's making its own juice, which is awesome. If for some of you, if that's a little bit too much fat in there, you certainly can skim it off. I wouldn't skim off all of it. The whole point of a low-carb, high-fat diet is the fat is, it's healthy fat. It comes from the meat, so there's nothing wrong with it. I'm going to go ahead now, though, since the meat is all done cooking. I'm going to add the tomatoes. I'm actually going to put that down there. Let me add my tomatoes. And then I'm going to add all of the cilantro. And this is going to cook for about 10 more minutes to get everything soft. And then it'll be ready to go. What I do is I garnish it with fresh cilantro, and you'll see what it looks like when it's garnished. Some diced up avocado, and maybe even a little bit more tomato, but most likely it'll just be the avocado, some fresh cilantro, and sour cream also. I can do that too. What I'm probably going to serve this on top of is going to be a cilantro lime cauliflower rice. Which is very, very yummy. Doesn't take long to make, but it'll sit on top of that as opposed to rice itself. You can also serve this on top of lettuce, so you can make almost like a taco salad, if you will, without the bowl. But here we go. I'm going to go ahead and now cover this back up and let it cook for about 10 more minutes. All right, we're going to check the chili. Ooh, it's simmering. I'm going to turn it low. It looks really good. I'm going to give it a stir before I take a taste. And like I said, if you're alarmed and you think, oh my God, there seems to be so much grease in there, you can certainly skim it off if you choose to. If you do leave this in, keep in mind when it goes into the fridge, it does solidify, obviously, but a little bit in the microwave or back on the stovetop, no problem. You don't even have to oil your pot if you decide to warm it up via the stove pot. I'm going to go ahead and take a little taste. Ooh. Oh yeah, turn that off. It is a wonderful recipe and it tastes delicious. If you like the recipe or if you like what I'm doing here, go ahead and hit like or hit subscribe or both. And if you have a chili recipe that you absolutely love or different things you like to try with your chili, go ahead and put it down in the comment box and let me know. I'm certainly willing to try different things. I love playing in the kitchen and it's just a lot of fun and you never know what you can come up with.